Hi. Hello. Hello.
Hi there. How can I help you today?
Um, I have a homework to do with you.
Of course. What do you need help with?
Um, I will speak English with you, and it should be talk about transportation or logistics.
Sure. Let's talk about transportation and logistics. What specifically are you working on? Are you focusing on a particular aspect, like supply chain, shipping methods, or something else?
No.
No problem. Do you want to discuss how transportation affects logistics? Or are you looking for examples of different transportation methods? Let me know how I can help.
Uh, no.
All right, let's start with transportation. It involves moving goods from one place to another using various methods like trucks, trains, ships, and airplanes. Logistics is all about managing how these goods are stored and moved efficiently. Does that help clarify things?
Can you make a podcast?
I can't create a podcast, but I can definitely help you with information or script ideas for one. If you have specific topics in mind about transportation or logistics, I can help with that. Let me know how you like to proceed.
Can you tell me stories?
Absolutely. Would you like to hear a story about transportation or something else? Let me know what you're in the mood for.
Transportation.
All right, here's a story about a legendary transportation feat. Once upon a time, there was a small village in a remote mountainous region. The villagers had a hard time getting supplies because the roads were treacherous. One day, an innovative engineer came to the village with an idea to build a cable car system that could transport goods and people across the mountains. After months of hard work, the cable car was completed. It transformed the village, making it easier to get supplies and connect with the outside world. The villagers were overjoyed and grateful for this new way of transportation. This story reminds us how innovation in transportation can change lives and bring communities closer together.
Wow. Can you tell me another story?
Of course, here's another one about transportation. In the early 20th century, a young man named Henry Ford had a vision. He wanted to make cars affordable for everyone. At that time, cars were luxury items only the wealthy could afford. Ford introduced the assembly line to car manufacturing, which allowed cars to be produced faster and more efficiently. This innovation drastically lowered the cost of cars, making them accessible to the average person. Soon, families across the country could afford their own cars, which changed the way people lived and traveled. Roads were built, and towns expanded as people could now explore beyond their immediate surroundings. Henry Ford's vision and innovation in transportation not only changed the world of automobiles, but also had a lasting impact on society as a whole.
Oh, can you tell me another story?
Of course, here's a story about a famous train. In the 19th century, the Transcontinental Railroad was built in the United States, connecting the East and West Coasts. This was a monumental achievement in transportation history. One day, a young engineer named Sarah was assigned to work on the railroad. She was passionate about making the journey safer and faster for travelers. Sarah came up with an innovative idea to design stronger and more efficient train tracks. Her design reduced travel time and made the journey much safer. Thanks to Sarah's contributions, the railroad became a vital link that brought people and goods across the vast country. This story shows how transportation innovations can have a lasting impact on connecting people and fostering growth.
And um,
I'm
are
glad you enjoyed.
there are there any other kinds except stories that you can share about transportation?
Absolutely. I can share interesting facts, historical milestones, or even explain how different transportation technologies work. Is there anything specific you're curious about? Like how airplanes fly, how electric vehicles work, or something else related to transportation?
Okay, any stories?
Sure, here's a story about a famous ship. In the early 20th century, the RMS Titanic was known as the largest and most luxurious ship of its time. It was designed to be unsinkable and was considered a marvel of engineering. On its maiden voyage in 1912, the Titanic tragically struck an iceberg and sank in the Atlantic Ocean. The story of the Titanic is a reminder of the importance of safety in transportation. After the disaster, many safety regulations were introduced to ensure the safety of passengers on ships and other forms of transportation. It's a story that highlights both human achievement and the lessons we learn from challenges. Would you like to hear more stories like this?
Yeah.
All right, here's another story about a groundbreaking transportation innovation. In the 1960s, the concept of a supersonic passenger jet was born. The Concorde, a turbojet-powered supersonic passenger airliner, was developed jointly by British and French aerospace companies. The Concorde could travel at more than twice the speed of sound, cutting travel time between New York and Paris to just about 3.5 hours. The Concorde was an engineering marvel, offering passengers a luxurious and fast way to travel across the Atlantic. However, due to various factors, including high operating costs and environmental concerns, it was retired in 2003. The story of the Concorde showcases how innovation in transportation can push the boundaries of what's possible and inspire future advancements. Would you like to hear more stories like this?
Yeah.
Great! Here's a story about a famous invention in transportation, the bicycle. In the early 19th century, the first version of the bicycle, called the Drassine or running machine, was invented by a German baron named Karl Dreis. It was a wooden frame with two wheels and no pedals, and people would push themselves along with their feet. In the late 1800s, the design evolved with the introduction of pedals and a chain drive, creating the modern bicycle we know today. This innovation made personal transportation faster and more accessible to people from all walks of life. The bicycle had a significant impact on society, allowing people to travel longer distances quickly and efficiently. It also played a role in social changes, empowering women and promoting independence. The story of the bicycle is a testament to how simple yet ingenious designs can have a lasting impact on our lives. Would you like to hear more stories?
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's a story about a remarkable transportation innovation, the invention of the subway. In the mid-19th century, cities were becoming overcrowded and traffic congestion was a major problem. In London, a visionary engineer named Mark Brunel had an idea to build an under
很抱歉，你已达到进阶语音模式的每日使用上限，你可以切换至标准语音继续聊天。